shadows creep and crawl. With every scream, hear the echoes call. Synths and guitars in a haunting blend. An 80s vibe where the terror transcends. Shocktoberfest, scream until dawn. In your nightmares, the terror's reborn. Lights flash, monsters take flight. Embrace the darkness, it's a battle night.
How's it going, everybody? Wildman Wes here, and welcome to day 17 of Shocktoberfest 80s Rewind. We've had quite a number of interesting films so far within the first half of this series, and the next half is going to be just as interesting, if not more. When it comes to today's film, I realized something. When I do these Shocktoberfest series, I do my best to put in some subgenres of horror, whether it be film noir, psychological, animated, and there is one subgenre that I really haven't tapped into in a while: science fiction. And last year I did do Alien, and this year I decided to do something very similar, if not complete carbon copy. Today we're going to be talking about Tobe Hooper's 1985 film, Lifeforce. In this movie we have a space crew of British and American people going out and finding an alien spacecraft with three beings encased in some form of a crystal. And when they go and find these beings, all hell breaks loose. Out of nowhere, one of the crew members, Carlson, is back on Earth, and he has to talk about his experience while up in space. And we also find out that the three beings that were out in space in this alien spacecraft were brought back down to Earth. And once they are revived, they start feeding on humans to take in their life force. And when that happens, said people that are bitten become a hybrid version of these beings, and in order for them to survive, they have to consistently feed on the life force of other human beings. Carlson is dealt with a double-edged sword, because when he's back on Earth, he starts having flashbacks about what happened when they were out in space, and it turns out that he was responsible for the destruction and death of his crew members, and shares a psychic bond with the female member of these three beings they brought from space. Not just that, but he also develops a romantic bond with her as well. Oh, this is going to be very interesting, isn't it? As he is going through his psychic bond and communicating with this female being, all hell is breaking loose in town, where people that have been bitten by these beings are going around, and it is, once again, folks, a big outbreak. Eventually, Carlson has to sacrifice himself and destroy the female being that was brought from space in order for the outbreak to disperse and everybody can survive somewhat happily ever after. That's the best way I could describe that. This movie was very difficult to get through. A lot of it for me was the fact that looking back on it and seeing a lot of the plot and also the camera angles and imagery, almost blatant ripoffs of both Alien and Dawn of the Dead combined. And when I say that, a lot of it is with Alien. It's very reminiscent when they find the alien beings on the spacecraft, very similar to when the facehugger jumps out, and eventually when people are becoming infected and the chest burster comes through. And even with Dawn of the Dead ripoff situation, very much the outbreak when chaos ensues and people are infected attacking non-infected human beings. And speaking of the fact that I mentioned Silver Bullet from yesterday, there is a quasi nod to Stephen King's The Dead Zone with a lot of the psychic communication as well as almost premonition-style imagery where Carlson is starting to notice that things are going to happen before they happen. And there's a lot of not just ripoffs but homages, and that's where my attention started falling flat. At times I was actually chuckling, saying, oh, Alien did it, Alien did it, Dead Zone did it, Dawn of the Dead did it. Oh man, Tobe Hooper, you have done so many better films than this. Of course, horror meisters have to have a stinker once in a while, right, folks? I am going to give credit to the cast because the people that were in this movie had some fairly established careers at the time. We had Nicholas Ball, we had Frank Finley, we had Peter Firth, we had Patrick Stewart, we had Nancy Paul, and the list goes on and on with a couple other ones, but it's going to take a while. However, like I mentioned, story, plotline, a little muddled, especially with the concept of, almost pretty much blatant ripoffs, but their performances are still very noteworthy. Okay, it is time to grade this film. I have ripped on it quite a bit, and I have given it some honorable notes of what I actually enjoy about it. I did forget to mention that the special effects in this were actually very, very well put together, and that is going to up the grade quite a bit. I have mentioned in the past, when I see movies that are blatant ripoffs or take too many liberties, the grade is going to go down. I actually was about to give this movie an F during the watching of it. However, looking back at my notes and realizing that as much as I was really upset about some of the ripoff moments, the performances and the special effects do make up for that. I'm going to be very lenient on this one. I'm going to give this a D+. So far we still haven't had a failing movie, and that's always a good thing because there have been series in the past where I have failed a movie, and I'd like for once one of my Shocktoberfest series to not have a failing grade. We still have, 14 more movies to go, so we'll see. We hope you enjoyed this review on Lifeforce. If there are things that you agree with me on, leave a thumbs up. If there are some things that you don't agree with me with, we got that comment section below. Let me know what you like that I didn't like, and I'm just very interested to see what people like, especially in the horror genre. After watching so many of these films, it's hard to keep up sometimes on trying to be not too overly critical, if I'm making any sense on that. Other than that, make sure you share on social media, but most importantly, push that little red button and ring the bell for instant notifications. Until then, I'm Wildman Wes, and we will see you next time for day 18 of Shocktoberfest 80s Rewind. Take care, and as always, stay scared, kiddies.